Can Troy throw something in that's going to make this an even more complicated discussion?
Go ahead.
For me, when I hear about relationships between black men and black women and how often we hear often they're kind of dysfunctional or don't work, for me, I have to throw in the racial component. That race is relevant in the relationships between black men and black women because race is relevant in education, the educational system, how we get educated. Race is relevant in the sense of, let's say, white men who are basically in control of this country for the most part. Black men, a lot of us feel that white men are threatened by black men. No, I don't want to be on. I'll be the anonymous person. White men are white men are threatened by black men, but white men are not threatened by black women. Therefore, white men do not have a problem. White men do not have a problem with black women achieving because they don't see black women as a threat. As a matter of fact, they would prefer that the black woman, educationally, financially, etc., would be over the black man because that plays into their their desire to keep the black man from being where they are. Now I don't say that as an excuse for black men not achieving, but I believe that it is a factor in this fight between black men and white men over resources, and therefore, the relationship between white men always being about, or oftentimes about, stymieing the progress of black men, correct me if I'm wrong, that therefore, when black men relate to black women, that comes to play. Because if you can't get the job that you deserve because a white man is keeping you from getting the job, you can't do economically for your woman or for your children what the white man is doing for his. Now, so for me, it's a consciousness that we as black men and black women ought to have, that race is relevant in why there is so much conflict in our relationships.
I think there are conflicts in all relationships. I don't want to put that.
I don't disagree with that, but I don't want us to exclude the fact that race is relevant in those.
I hear you.
That was actually That was actually my third bullet. We were going to race. Is race an issue in relationships? And whether or not interracial relationships is still an issue. Do we still care that the quote good black man is taken by the white woman, or the athletes are taken by the? And
let me give you an example.
Do we still care? Does that still matter?
When I was taking the bar exam in Pennsylvania, and we were taking a bar prep course, and it's at 15th at the Hahnemann at 15th and Vine, and I was in there and I was looking around. And I got into a conversation with someone, I forget who it was, but anyhow, someone told me, he said, all of the male black DAs got white women. All of the white DA females have black men. And when I heard that, I was like, well, why is that? That's kind of interesting. So you've got, and I don't know how true this is over the course of black men being in professions, but from anecdotal evidence, it seemed interesting that a lot of the educated black men were dating or married to or in relationships with white women. So how does that affect relationships, black men and black women?
Renee, what were you going to say?
I guess the question becomes, at what point did the black male decide that he was going to go with the white woman? Because when you look at it, when you hear a lot of black men talk about, especially someone who is a lawyer, obviously more than likely when they were growing up, they probably were rejected by black women. And
why would that be?
Well, sometimes when people are kind of smart, they may be kind of nerdy. Their presentation may not be cool. And so ultimately they turn to what was more acceptable. And unfortunately, this is a stereotype, and I don't like to deal with stereotypes, and I really don't like to deal with statistics too much. However, if you look at it from a stereotypical standpoint, African American women, what we think is attractive, especially when we're younger, isn't the nerdy looking guy. We kind of go for the guy that isn't as smart, doesn't present as well, the bad guy who ends up in prison.
Is that also true for white women?
white women, I mean, I think you see it more now, but typically white women understand they're indoctrinated with the belief that you go for the guy that's going to be successful.
Exactly.
Not the guy that is cool or the athlete. You go for the guy that is going to be in a position that can influence the family and generations to come. And who does that? Judges, lawyers, doctors, entertainers, CEOs of companies. That's why I believe with my limited knowledge, I believe that's why you see white women, black men choosing white women, because they were the ones who accepted them first.